I got some bad news for Steve Austin fans out there because the Texas Rattlesnake, the one and only Stone Cold Steve Austin, has given an update that fans were not hoping to hear. In fact, some of this is going to be news of fans leaving saying, "What?" Which is ironic considering he's the one that got that catchphrase over. So buckle up and pour yourself a Steve Weiser or your beverage of choice in this situation, and let's get into this potential news, this bad news, in fact, that Steve Austin has come out and stated. Now, look, WWE Hall of Famer Steve Austin, he came back out of retirement at WrestleMania 38 in 2022, where he defeated Kevin Owens in a no holds barred match. It was his first match in 19 years, and it all stemmed from Kevin Owens talking trash about Texas. Now, there's been countless guys over the years that have tried to get Austin to come out of retirement, right? You're talking about CM Punk. You're talking about countless others who have poached the idea of doing so, right? And there's been dream matches pitched at nauseum, essentially, about Steve Austin and getting him back into the ring. Now, keep in mind, in 2003, after WrestleMania 19, and when he was defeated by The Rock, it was a situation in which he had severe health issues going on and a lot of wear and tear on his body that ultimately led him to making the tough decision to retire from the wrestling business. And I think he was 38 years old at the time. And so when 2022 came around, it was a rumor of like, oh yeah, they're trying to get Austin to come back. He won't come back, right? And then there was a little bit more heat to the story. And then finally, people are like, oh, wait a minute, Kevin Owens is doing promos about, Texas, which is the host of WrestleMania 38. Could this be Austin coming back? And then he did a little promo out in the mountains of Nevada talking about how he would go to WrestleMania and he would confront Kevin Owens on the Kevin Owens show. And Kevin Owens has talked about in the past how they did not know what they were going to do. They didn't know if they were going to get a match out of Austin. They didn't know if they were going to just get a segment out of Austin. He was just going to hit some punches, throw some stunners, and call it a day. But actually, Austin decided the day of, hey, we're going to go through with this. We're going to have a brawl. And Austin himself has talked about how he wishes he could have done a little bit more in that match, that he was, he felt like he could do more. And I don't know how much more he could do. I mean, the man took a suplex on the concrete, okay? Like, they did all that they could do. And Austin did look slow and he did show his age, but it's Steve Austin, and he hit his greatest, hits, and he moved on, and I thought they did well. Now, they did try to get him for the following WrestleMania, which would have been WrestleMania 39, out in SoFi Stadium out in LA. And he was actually filming an A&E television show at the time and could not commit to doing a match. But he was open to it, right? WrestleMania 40 comes. He don't want to fly out to Philadelphia. So they're like, okay. And so they get The Undertaker to replace him. WrestleMania 41, obviously, he shows up. He gets inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame for a second time for his match with Bret Hart. He runs an ATV into a barricade that may or may not have hit a woman, and now we're where we're at. And leading up to this event, he appeared on the Pat McAfee show, and he was very honest. He was very truthful about what if he comes back and does another match. And Steve Austin was very, very clear about this. He said, I think the time right now is for the younger generation. I leave it to them. I'm not looking to get back into the ring anytime soon. Okay? This is notable. Keep in mind that Austin is 60 years old. He underwent a total knee replacement surgery in late 2024. That has to play into his decision of whether or not he's going to work another match. You don't get a surgery and then go do a match if you're trying to be like, you know what, I don't want any more surgeries, right? Like, not everyone is Hulk Hogan, where they'll do a surgery, they'll go do a match, they'll get a surgery, they'll go do a match. Not everyone is like that, right? That is such a burden on your body, okay? You are undergoing a surgical procedure. You're opening yourself up to a lot of wear and tear, a lot of damage, a lot of trauma to your body when you do so. I think that's why Hulk is in the physical situation which he's at this point in time in his life. But if you look at Austin, I've said this for a while now. I did not think Austin was going to come back and work another match. I just didn't. Why would you? Right? He came back. He worked a Mania main event against a guy that he adores, thinks the world of, lets him use his finisher. And oh, by the way, it's in Texas. Right? Like, you could make the argument he had a very good send off with Rock, right? Working his arch rival, his biggest rival, at a WrestleMania, and you call it a day. And they had a really good match. Was that match better than his and Kevin Owens? Yes, it was. But you got to keep in mind, they were not going to headline Steve Austin and The Rock because Austin was so stressed out that he didn't want to be the main event because he was deathly afraid he was going to stink the joint out. Okay, he's talked about that numerous times. His book, The Stone Cold Truth, is actually a really, really good book. I would highly recommend it. It's better than most, DVDs, documentaries that you've seen A&E or WWE do. It's a really, really good book, and it was written around the time that he retired. So it really gets into that. Anyways, I think the fact that you have him go out with Kevin Owens in the great state of Texas in a main event of WrestleMania, why wouldn't you go out like that? Right? You're only getting older. Who would he even work with? A lot of people are like, well, you could do the CM Punk match. I think the CM Punk match, that was a moment in time, right? Like, you could still do it today, but I don't think it would come across as special as it is because Punk was, in a lot of ways compared to Austin at the time for, the anti-establishment, pressing up against the boss, yada, yada, yada. Well, that's what Austin was made out of, right? That was what made him the big star that he is. It was and I don't see Punk in that light, right? WWE in that sense, like, everyone looks at Triple H as like the quote unquote savior, which to a certain degree he is. So I don't know. I would say just leave it in the past. Let Austin have his moment. WrestleMania 38, Kevin Owens, a guy he likes, in Texas, WrestleMania main event. Because you also take the chance of pulling an Undertaker. We're like, what if Austin comes back, he does another match, and then he has a bad match, so he feels like he has to do another one. And then what if that match is bad? Well, then you got to do another. Like, it just keeps going on and on and on and on, right? Now, could he be like Shawn Michaels, who has one of the worst last matches you have ever seen at, what was it, Crown Jewel, right? Where in 2019, I think it was, 2018, him, Kane against Triple H and Shawn Michaels. So it was Undertaker, Kane versus Shawn Michaels and Triple H. That was a terrible match. Well, Michaels was like, you know what? I think I'm done. I think I'm done here. So just keep that in mind.